South Africa continues to be in the dark despite government's promises of ending power cuts. While many have called for the transition to renewable energy, government says coal still remains key for Eskom's baseload. Mineral Resources and Energy Deputy Minister was speaking at this week's 18th annual Southern African Coal Conference in Cape Town. Let's bring in mining and coal expert Vuslat Bayoglu for more on this. Thank you so much for your time, Vuslat. You were at that coal conference, and I think what shocked many was that the Deputy Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy indicating that load shedding and the constant rolling blackouts will be a thing of the past by the end of this year. But given the ongoing power cuts that we have been experiencing, is that really realistic?
Hi, Heidi. Thank you for hosting me. Look, I doubt if it's going to be finished. The load shedding will be finished end of this year. Eskom CEO said the similar things, that the load shedding will be finished in the next, say, 12 to 18 months. But I doubt that, because we got serious issues in terms of maintenance of the boilers of Eskom and the transmission lines. So I think those things are not going to be sorted in 12 months.
I want us to speak about the comment made by the Deputy Minister with regards to that coal is not the cause of load shedding, and we know this, and it's because of the poor performing power plants. But at the end of the day, South Africans are watching the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy and Eskom to try and figure out what they are going to do to sort this out. What can you take away from this coal conference? Was it just another conference where people talk about our problems here in South Africa, the energy crisis, but there aren't any solutions?
Look, first of all, it was a very well-attended conference. There was about 400 people, I heard from the conference organizers, and there was two main topics. There were two main topics. It was coal, what's going to happen to coal prices. I'm talking about export coal prices, because with the issue between Russia and Ukraine, obviously coal prices hiked to like $350, $400 levels last year. So people are interested in getting coal from South Africa, and then they're also worried about like South Africa is exporting less and less because of the issues that we are facing, or the challenges that we are facing with the Chinese locomotive supplier through Transnet. That was one topic. And the other topic was obviously a very hot topic. It was Eskom, and Eskom CEO made a very interesting presentation. And he actually talked like he's working for a renewable energy company rather than like CEO of Eskom, because his presentation said like, it takes, for instance, 10 to 12 years to build a coal-fired power station. Yes, that may be true in the case of like a government building a coal-fired power station, but in the case of, let's say, Europe or China or United States, to build a 4,000 megawatt capacity, it takes 4 years. It doesn't take 10 to 12 years. And then he also mentioned about, like, South Africa doesn't have a baseload issue. And this is a very bold statement, and it's a wrong statement, because we have a baseload issue. And he was also mentioning about, like, renewable energy is cheaper than coal, 2 to 4 times less than coal, which is wrong. I mean, you can talk to anybody in the world. It's almost similar to build a megawatt of a solar panel or solar capacity or wind capacity or coal-fired capacity. And the difference is coal-fired capacity is reliable, and solar and wind is intermittent. So when the Eskom CEO says that it's cheaper to build solar capacity and wind capacity, then I'm baffled. Because, I mean, how do you connect this renewable energy to the system? We don't have the transmission lines. So we have, he was also saying like 8 gigawatt firm capacity, 48 gigawatts variable capacity, and an 8 gigawatt storage capacity. Do you know the cost of this thing? Do South Africans know the cost of this thing? I mean, 48 gigawatt variable capacity is going to cost South Africa $48 billion. Where is this going to come from? And what is going to happen to the coal-fired capacity that we have? Can we extend the coal-fired capacity's life? Because a certain power station is coming to an end in terms of their useful life. Can we extend another 10 years or 20 years? And in the meantime, we determine what the solution is.
Yeah. I just want to ask you...
It was a bit like work.
Yes, sorry for interjecting there. I just want to ask you in terms of those attending the coal conference, you know, everyone's watching South Africa and trying to figure out how we're going to deal with this energy crisis. And there are calls, and there have been calls for some time to move away from coal because of what it's doing to our environment and our climate. But South Africa has come out saying that they will most likely move into a state of disaster to try and deal with the energy crisis. And right now, we can only actually depend on our coal-fired power stations, as poor performing as they are. You know, looking at the situation and looking at the conversations that are being had, possibly moving into states of disaster, as a South African, as a citizen, as a business owner, as somebody that's watching all of this and saying, I just want constant and reliable energy, is that something that can happen given the many challenges that we face and possibly moving into states of disaster?
It can happen, provided that we have the stance, the right stance from the government. Because when Eskom CEO says that a coal-fired power capacity takes 10 years, 12 years, and if he's telling this to the Minister Gordon and President Ramaphosa, then if they believe in him, then we are in trouble. Because, like for instance, Komati is closed. We are demolishing Komati. Why? Because the cost of power is 170 cents per kilowatt hour. Now the question that we need to ask, if you get power ships in Durban or in Richards Bay or in Saldanha, how much is it going to cost us? Is it going to cost us 3 rand a kilowatt hour, 4 rand a kilowatt hour? Who's going to pay that? At the end of the day, whatever is paid from the treasury is our money. It's going from the people's tax. So these are the things that needs to be decided. So I don't think Eskom or government understand what the problem is, because they are misled by these kind of things of like, we're going to solve this problem with renewable energy. Renewable energy doesn't provide baseload. Simple. And we need to have baseload, and our baseload is coal. It's like what Saudi Arabia does with oil. Can you say Saudi Arabia stop extracting oil? No, because it's their bread and butter. Our bread and butter for energy is coal. We have to produce energy from coal, baseload energy, and then we will complement it with wind and solar. But wind and solar will never be baseload because humanity didn't find the innovation yet to make solar and wind power, baseload power.
So just lastly, Vuslat, you said something now where you said comments are being made and government itself doesn't really understand. Government and Eskom, they don't really understand what the problem is. And this is what South Africans have been saying, that do we actually know the severity of the problem and do we know what we're dealing with? Just very briefly, what is the solution here? Give us a solution. You in the mining and coal space, you see this, you deal with this every single day. Do we stick to coal? You're saying that it doesn't take 10 to 12 years to build a coal-fired power station. So what is the solution? Take us out of the dark. That's what we want.
Look, I mean, I'm living in I'm doing the same like conundrum, and I'm having the same like desperation. But when I hear people are clueless about the solution, then I'm really worried. But let me answer your question. So first of all, we have to agree. Baseload can be done or can be produced from either coal or gas or nuclear. We have coal, cheap coal, good quality coal. We export coal. Last year, we exported 143 billion rand worth of coal. So we also did 109 billion rand worth of coal sales, right? When I say we, South Africa Inc., for the local sales. So we have cheap and good quality coal, and we can wash the coal, we can make it cleaner, it can be burned in Eskom's boiler, and we can deal with the base. But if you don't deal with that, and if you say, no, I will bring power ships, or I'll bring gas from Mozambique, then you are not in the right direction. President Ramaphosa mentioned that in the past there were miscalculations. I think we carry on miscalculating. We don't need gas or nuclear. We need to power the nation in terms of baseload with coal, and there's a massive interest for renewable energy, which can be done, which is sun coming from mainly from Northern Cape and wind coming from Eastern Cape and Western Cape. That is the solution. And if you don't focus on this, if you try to find out, okay, how can you burn gas? Can we get power from car power ships? Then we're not in the right direction.